Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today, I'll be taking a look at the new Junji collection, TOMBS. This is a collection of short stories. I'm glad that I've given Junji a couple chances because the first, I think I read just the worst two things to read from him first, the uh, Tomei and Gyo, which were just too viscerally gross for me. They were focused on grossness rather than psychological horror or something. Just repulsive stuff. And I kind of wrote him off, but he's so popular. I keep giving him chances, and I've been liking a lot of the stuff that I've been reading in the last couple things that they've released of his. So very excited to read this one, and it paid off. It was the type of thing that I like from him. So I don't want to give away the endings. Obviously, there's all short little stories with kind of twist endings or whatever, like the horror builds as they go. But just get an overview of what's going on and point out some things I like. So this Tomb story is I thought was a really interesting one. One of the things about it is that my prediction for how it was going to end. I was reading it, I was like, oh, I know where this is going, and it didn't go exactly in that way, and I like that. But this is just a town where when people die, they turn into their own tomb. They kind of calcify, and there's more to it than that. But as always with Junji, that leads to some kind of impressively odd visuals, and you can always expect that. Like the way he draws these tombs just have kind of a monolithic creepiness to them that I find really fascinating. This story here, Clubhouse. I like this one quite a bit in that it takes a real world dynamic and turns it into a horror story. So this is like a group of three friends, and then there becomes a division between the three friends, and one character is kind of forced to choose between them. But there's a whole like kind of ghost story narrative that goes with that, and so I find those kinds of things the most impactful in his work. When he's touching on real world worries and real world concerns, that really speaks to me quite a bit. And I think the overriding theme that I got in this one is claustrophobia, and that makes sense with the word tombs, but even like claustrophobic, being trapped in this situation with these friends. And as someone who's fairly claustrophobic myself, the idea of, or maybe agoraphobic, the idea of being somewhere where I can't get out of it, where I don't have control, that really bothers me. And so that kind of shows up over and over again, or the idea of suffocation as well in this story. I think like most people, one of their favorite Junji stories is the one where there's like the holes that are exactly the people's size, and they have to walk through the holes and wiggle their way through, and they get distorted and stretched. This whole volume feels like a continuation of that theme in a sense. This slug girl one is absolutely nasty. There's this girl who basically her tongue turns into a slug, and the visuals on that are, well, here you could see, at the end, her tongue turning into a slug is just totally gross. This one here is about a kid with this like kind of monstrous old lady in the house across the way, and the way that he draws this old lady like looking at him and coming at him through the window is just so grotesque. But I really like the abstraction in it. It feels like he's pulling from some different place, from some art historical reference. I can't quite tag what it is, but I feel like I've seen these proportions in this type of thing before, and it sets oddly against his normal style, and that makes it even more horrific. I just think that's a really compelling drawing. This one here, this is a sea monster story, and this is one of the really claustrophobic ones. There's a sea monster that washes ashore, and there's a bunch of people trapped in its belly, and that's like my absolute worst nightmare, is to just be trapped in a really confined space that I can't get out of, with a bunch of other people heaving on me and breathing on me. So this is just one of those ones that just really disturbed me. And you get all kinds of this cool grotesque fish imagery and stuff. Perfect Junji story. This is another claustrophobic one, The Tale of the Strange Tunnel. It's this tunnel that has all kinds of kind of it kind of pulls people in, but there's some weird stuff going on, and inside of it, people have lost their family in it, and there's a claustrophobic sense of being trapped in the tunnel. I don't want to go into that too much either, but you get some, again, always with Junji Ito, some really, really fun visuals and ideas of these spirits cutting through this tunnel and people being sucked into it. The bronze statue, again, you can kind of see where that's going already, maybe, but the idea of being kind of trapped in a statue, or someone being turned into a statue, which again has this claustrophobia behind it. And you can see here these characters that are being murdered, that have been turned into basically like concrete, or no, they've been turned into wax, I believe. And the guy's chipping away at him. So that's another one of those just awful, like having someone pour cement or something on you. It seems like one of the worst ways. Buried alive, anything like that seems awful. And so that drawing to me is just absolutely horrific, but well done. This is a really weird one where there's like these hairballs. This one's not really on the, I guess it is in the claustrophobic theme in a kind of emotional way, but there's these hairballs that represent people's inner thoughts, and they're running around, and someone's trying to collect them all. And it's like a analogy for the internet, I think, like how overwhelmed and anxious the internet makes us all, where we're constantly exposed to everyone's thoughts all the time, and we don't have as much privacy and all of that kind of stuff. It's like a physicalization of the internet, and how terrible that would be for society, and what that would do if we were like psychic and we knew what everyone was thinking. How it would tear us apart. So I thought that's what that it was, is kind of a response to the internet. This one is about this town that sucks up people's blood, and it has like these roots going through the town that are arteries. So it made me think of Sepultura's Roots, Bloody Roots. And I just thought, this image here of these veins running through the town, and the blood being pulled out, is a really kind of awesome visual. And again, made me think of that song that I really like. So that's kind of an overview of the stories. I don't want to get too in depth with new books. I don't want to give away too much, but this is the type of story I like from Junji Ito. They all seem attached to real world worries, and they're not just like, people farting and burping and, I don't know, just obviously there's grotesque, but it seems to be more of a reason for it. It's not just nasty for the sake of nasty. I love it when he gets a little bit more Lovecraftian and kind of universal horror, the claustrophobia, things like that really, really work for me. So quite enjoy this. And now that I have like a understanding of the fact that his career has evolved into this more sophisticated kind of horror, it definitely makes me want to go back and get all the books I've missed. So I don't know when I'll be able to afford to do that, but at some point I'll do a full Junji Ito kind of full dive into everything that he's done, because I know there's a lot of very popular works that I'm missing out on, and I'll have to give a second chance to like TOMBS and Gyo and stuff like that, and maybe try and understand them better in terms of like his overall production. So anyways, really cool book. If you're interested in it, definitely recommend it. If you're into Ito, it's a great one. If you haven't checked him out, this would be a really, really good starting point, I think, for his more sophisticated stuff, and then work backwards to whatever point you tap out. That would be my recommendation. If you appreciate what we're doing here on the channel and want to support us, there's two ways to do that. The first one is through our Patreon. There's two different tiers of interaction there. The first tier will get you early access to our videos. The second tier gets you exclusive access to a webcomic experiment called Prane Day that you can vote and help influence where the story goes. You also get exclusive access to the comics that Shauna and I are working on, previews of what we're working on. We really appreciate that. The money we get from Patreon just goes back into buying the books we review, so put that back into the industry, put it into other creators' pockets, and help us keep exposing you to work. So that's really appreciated, that ability. And then to support Living the Line itself, the best thing to do is support what Sean's doing with Living the Line Publishing. So we'll go ahead and take a look at one of his books now. House on Fire by Matt Battaglia is a just gorgeous book where Matt's kind of making an emotional response to the years of COVID and wrapping that into a sci-fi dystopian future. that really the sci-fi dystopian's backgrounded, and you're focused on the emotional journey of two characters in a really beautiful way. And then that's enhanced by Matt's like really awesome, loose, kind of Paul Popish dry brush work. And then Sean and Matt have worked to get this second kind of orange spot color in there that's going to look really, really beautiful, and it has allowed Matt to use his dry brush technique to add tone to the thing too. So with Sean's production technique, this is going to be a gorgeous book with a lot of heart. Thanks for following along. Take it away, Jack.
You want to see all these books? Smash that subscribe button and the like button and the bell, and then you get them.